CSUF's ASI elections are held every year during the spring semester. The elections are used to see who will fulfill open positions within the ASI. At this year's ASI election, the turnout was underwhelming. The voter participation in this election was very low, as only about 5% of students voted in the main presidential election, and even less in other polls. I talked to Daniel Quint, one of the many students who did not vote.
I didn't vote because I didn't know when the votes were, that they were even having any election.
What caused students to not participate in this year's election?
Well, a lot of students either don't really care or they're too busy to really look up, which is kind of where I'm at, where they didn't have a lot of time to look up the differences between the candidates.
In the future, Fullerton may want to educate their students better and advertise the election more. The CSUF Young Republicans Club is a group that encourages all conservative Fullerton students to join to discuss and debate their ideals with like-minded individuals. Al Lee is one of the longest tenured members of this club.
Well, I've always been a principled conservative. I'm really interested in conservative politics, in socializing with conservative peers. And so I saw this as an opportunity not just to network, make friends and stuff, but also to drive forward the kinds of changes I want to see in our politics.
When the club started out, they only had a few members, but that all changed last November. Since the election, the club has noticed an increase in attendance.
Our numbers swell. We had around 6 average turnout, 6 people average turnout to our meetings. When I started around February. Now it's closer to about 20 plus.
Oh wow! Okay.
Every meeting, yeah. So we're definitely growing.
Although outsiders may think that CSUF is a commuter school, there is actually a big housing community on campus. Larry Martin tells us about the history of Fullerton housing.
Although it was never the intention to provide housing for everyone. And so the university worked with a company and they built housing across the street behind what is now Hope International University. And so they opened a couple of halls, Olympus and Orthus Hall, dating back to Greek mythology around the Titans, right? Since we're the Titans. And so those halls were open for probably a decade or so.
After that housing was torn down, Fullerton would go on to build more dorms, single and double apartments on campus for anyone who wanted to stay on. The housing here at CSUF is one of the many things Fullerton tries to do to distance itself from being a commuter school. As Fullerton continues to try to change their identity as a commuter school, they look to advancements for the future for housing and how to bring more people to live on campus.
And I think for me, the growth really could come from retaining students. Mm-hmm. We have our beautiful residence halls that house a lot of first years, and trying to figure out ways how can we create an experience that for students to want to stay a second and third and even fourth year maybe in the apartments, or if we have suites in the future. Okay. So.